There we go. Refuge. Okay. With a wish for all people. That's not true. Let me try that again. With a wish for all beings to be free, free of the constriction and contraction caused by held belief systems and thought patterns, free of the automatic reactivity caused by learned and held emotional patterns, and free of the isolation and suffering caused by distorted perceptions. I will always go for refuge to a live, vibrant, radiant, spacious awareness until awareness is ongoing, like the flow of a river. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the presence of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of any lineage or none at all, and or any time or beyond time, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all beings. As long as space remains, as long as beings remain, may I manifest in such a way to ease and dispel the miseries in the universe. Now, I thought I was going to have a sneeze there to blow all of our obscurations out. By the way, it's a wonderful time to check your heart mind is right after you sneeze. It's as good as a pet to kind of break everything loose for a second. And since I sneeze a lot, I must be getting really wise. Okay, today I'm pulled in a couple of different directions. Maybe they will come together. I had a dream last night, which I won't tell you the details of, but it ended up just being such a sad dream of the endless abuses that we do to each other as people, as nations, to the earth. And in this dream, I had gone to help bring some things to support people, like things we need, food, shelter material. And rather, the leader of this particular group, rather than just saying thank you and sending me off, or a group of us, it wasn't just me, made a story, took all the things, which was good, and then made a story about how we were really there to spy and decided to kill all of us. And it just had such a sense of how we so often, and I'm not going to stay on this, but maybe it's just a precursor to a normal Chenrezig. How often in life, I'll use my life, I have slipped into the judgment of others or myself to justify most anything. And I saw it on this nation level in the dream of, yes, we do keep hurting each other. And then we have, as nations, we think we have the right to forget all the hurting we've done and punish whoever we think is responsible for hurting us. And that's actually true on a personal level too, isn't it? It's actually true right within ourselves if we take a close look. So what do we do with that? There's a tradition in the Toltec tradition. They talk about powerful beings, they call them gods, that eat human fear and anger. And so it keeps getting stirred up. And in that tradition, as I'm not an expert in any means, but it seems to go through a lot of traditions of, you can have love or hate. It's very hard to have both at the same time. You can have hope and fear, and they bounce us all over the place too. But what we can start to do with some intention is step outside of our training, how we were raised, what seems to be the actions, not the spoken values of our cultures. There's a book also, The Four Agreements, which goes into this, and I highly recommend it to people. To survive, we didn't choose, but we agreed to go along with what we were taught and told. And that includes everything, naming everything, thinking everything is solid and real, thinking we have to stand up for ourselves, or in the other case, thinking we're not good enough, and if we don't take care of everybody else, we won't survive. There's all kinds of very obvious and very subtle agreements that we fall into. So my question was this morning, if that is and it's actually not the majority of people, that became clear. It is the power brokers that shape our world. Most people are pretty darn nice. Haven't you found that? Unless we get scared. And then we act in ways that aren't so nice sometimes. So how do we manage to step out of such a, you could call it karmic pattern? If you wanted to, you can call it whatever you'd like. But these thought patterns, reactive emotions, distorted perception, we've been told again and again that our nature is Buddha nature, which is the essence of open-hearted, open-minded, unlimited love, or compassion if you want. Compassion sometimes in the West carries a sense of pity, and that's not what it's meant, not what is meant at all. The actual recognition that we are all this together. And without feeling any guilt or using it to beat ourselves up, every time we buy into the us and them mentality and we take a side, just with our thoughts and our anger, we've contributed to that karmic pattern. So what do we do not to fall into that? Is it easy? No. There's a, pardon the quote, and I'll mess it up as I always do quotes, from the Indigo Girls that says, "Darkness has a hunger that's insatiable. Lightness has a voice that's hard to hear." How do we turn our attention again and again to what is at least accepted in so many traditions, that our actual nature is open-hearted, open-minded, unconditional love? And we've simply been hijacked, if you will, by the survival instinct, I suppose, run wild. If we think about it, if we actually realized that essence of who we really are, wouldn't that create better chances for survival than this paradigm of us and them? So can we change the world? Probably not. Do we have, don't like that word, I was going to say dominion, but that's a mess of a word. Do we have responsibility for our own presence? Perhaps so. So one of the reasons I love Chenrezig is it reminds me again and again and again and again, not like a counterforce, although sometimes it can feel that way. Like, okay, let's put some balance in here. It reminds me not to fight against falling into that pattern, that us and them pattern. Because if I'm fighting against it, then I have another us and them within me, don't I? But I can rest into something that reminds me, oh yeah, we're a bunch of confused beings on the human realm. And we can start to notice all the life around us that does not have that karmic pattern. All the traditions within the human realm that do not have that karmic pattern. The powerful karmic pattern that's currently running rampant has done a lot to try to destroy those traditions, and yet they're still there. And we're in one of those traditions, whether you call yourself a Buddhist or not. Don't think it really matters. It is a tradition that seeks to recognize beyond the limitations of us and them. Well, that's nice, isn't it? So I think we're lucky, or I think I'm lucky at least. And to be able to hang out with you all, who I'm guessing are interested in the same thing, and finding ways to relax into something greater than our sense of individual protectiveness. Um, there's a story about a pool of some sort of liquid. And if you've heard it, also forgive me if I don't get it quite right. And it's about perception. And there's this pool of some sort of thing, and a being from the hell realm comes upon it and sees fire and destruction and can't make any use of it at all because it creates fear. And the hungry ghost realm being comes along and sees yucky pus and disease and can't make any use of this at all. Animal realm comes along, sees water, but also, because of predators and prey, has a hard time enjoying that water and is always looking around, trying to get a sip or looking around for a prey, I suppose. Not an easy way to drink one's water. God realm comes along, and rather than being able to drink the water, well, this may be human realm too, take your pick, decides that they really better protect it. And so they're too busy protecting and trying to own it to actually enjoy the water. God realm is similar to that, I think. Only far more established in trying to find who to fight off so they can have all the water. And the realized level of life simply sees nectar and nourishment and enjoys it. In this story, it's the same, or is it? That depends on how you look at reality, I suppose. But the limitations or the enjoyments are within the perception. How do we allow our perception to see particularly human realm as simply confused light, like a laser beam that just woo, 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 is all over the place trying to find something and doesn't realize it is light. There's nothing to get. Would that have the capacity or the potential to allow our hearts to open, even to the most, what we might perceive as the most obnoxious or the most selfish or the most greedy? All of those traits are something we all have within us. It's just when they're way to the extreme, we really don't like them. What is this quest for power? It is the ultimate self-will of survival. If I get all the power, well, we're not going to survive. I hate to break it to anybody. Our bodies aren't going to last forever. If we spend our time, and I actually did this recently with a just something that was painful for me with one of my children. They're not children anymore. And instead of that spin that might happen of, I don't understand why somebody would, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what the blah, blah, blah is. It's blah, blah, blah. And the almost human thing, I'm beginning to think, to hold on to pain. Because if I hold on to the, I think this might be what it is. If we hold on, or I hold on to the pain, perhaps I can figure something out to change what I don't like. If I just let go of the pain or the suffering, or let it be as it is, not trying to do anything with it, well, where's the hope of fixing things, right? Anyway, it would be wonderful to have complete open awareness in every moment of this moment. I think that's kind of what we're in here for, yes? To allow the patterns that are obscuring this moment to gradually release in their own times, their own time, just by our awareness of them, so that we could actually engage, interact, be interactive in our experience of this moment, which I guess in this moment it might be patterns, and we can engage there with awareness. It would be wonderful to have awakened mind, if you will, all the time. I have to tell you, I don't have that. I have some awareness, I hope. I don't hope. I have some knowing that I can't put into words. But I also can get knocked off track. Or my habits can reassert themselves. How's that? So what I did in this case is be with the emotion, be present with some open-heartedness. Yeah, that's not a lot of fun. That doesn't feel that good. Okay, I'm here. And then start wishing, and it can be done with mantra, Om Mani Padme Hung. If I focus on the mantra with open-heartedness and the wish that all beings could be happy, joyous, awakened, whatever seems to come to mind. Maybe that they realize who they really are, but not to change anybody. Actually, to shift my attention from the self-focus of what I don't like to genuinely wishing someone else may find relaxation, openness, relief from the incessant clamor of patterns and grasping and clinging and aversion, trying to get rid of. So if you find yourself perceiving yourself as a true Dzogchen practitioner who never uses method, maybe rethink that. When you're having a moment of an emotional pattern. and that pattern has a hold of you. If you are not using Dzogchen to escape what you're experiencing, you may not need a method. If you can sit with open-heartedness all of what arises in you and what you perceive as outside of you, awesome. If you are escaping into only emptiness to avoid the mess of human existence, there will be eventually something bigger than your ability to escape from. That's my experience anyway. You may have a different experience. So if we begin Chenrezig with maybe an intention, a wish, that we can open our attention, our awareness, all around us. Sometimes it helps to be in a place that isn't a loud city with so many humans yelling at each other. But even if you shift your attention and awareness to watch for bits of kindness in interactions, you actually will find them all over the place. Somebody drops something, simple actions. Somebody drops something. Somebody comes along, picks it up for them and taps them and says, "Here, you dropped this." When I get cynical, it's like, oh, sure, that's going to happen. They're going to pick it up, and if it's worth anything, they're going to stick it in their pocket. No, actually, most people don't. You have to be pretty isolated and afraid to steal things. And we can imagine for a moment, well, probably at some point in our life, everybody in this room has taken something that wasn't theirs. There's something about that generally doesn't feel very good unless we tell ourselves a story of how much we deserve it and they don't. But if we're not drawn to taking things from others, and we're mad at those who do take things from others, two things we can do. We can actually take a look at our lives and notice when we may have taken something. We may have taken somebody's peace of mind by yelling at them. We may have taken somebody's self-respect by telling them what they were wrong about instead of listening. And we might notice that those actions come from fear. If you're a parent, you have fear for your child, most of us. And we might say things that, in hindsight, we wish we hadn't. Hopefully, if we're accountable, our child will have some forgiveness and notice that perhaps sometimes they're not as kind as they might be. But if you can't find anything in your life where you might have taken something from someone, Imagine how you might feel inside to cause you to steal from others. Sometimes we can, in our own minds, say, oh, they're just selfish. They really just like to steal. But think about it. Feel it. Same with all the things we get so upset about. Imagine having to try to get all the power. Has there been a time in your life? Well, if you're a parent, we often feel power over our children, and then we feel like we have no power over our children. It's a losing game, that power thing. And we grab for power, most of us, when we're, oh yeah, afraid. How much of our actions are driven by fear? Can we rest with that and recognize that we share that with probably every human realm being? I'm unhappy. I feel like this is never going to change. Oh, that drink or that drug makes me feel a little better for a while. Until it doesn't. And then we're right back where we started. Or we've now created an addiction in ourselves that has pretty well trashed our life. Fear. Fear of feeling unhappy. Fear that it won't go away ever. Do you remember being a teenager in high school or junior high? It's a very trying time for most of us. We don't know what we're doing. Most of us, some do. But maybe it's because we don't quite have the space to figure that out. Don't know. The human need to be loved and accepted is very large. Hang on here. Can we, if we're out away from so many people, can we notice how other living beings are? How about trees? I haven't figured them out yet. I think they move pretty slowly, especially those I'm looking out my window at some gorgeous oaks and sycamores that have been around, and a big pine tree that's been around a lot longer than me. I have it figured out that they will try to go to the light. Not a bad idea for all of us. But I don't ever feel any intention from a tree to harm anything else. As a matter of fact, most of them are a home for lots of beings. So spending a little time, I can look out and go, oh God, those are such beautiful trees, and all we people do is we try to ruin the earth, and I can go through a whole negative thing. Or I can actually be with this experience of that tree in this moment. Wanting to save things sometimes gets us in trouble. because we can't recognize what they're giving to us. The roots that go way down into the earth, most trees, really connected in the earth. And if you follow them, there's a couple of really nice books about this, about the communication system within trees. Whether it's the fungus network, I don't really remember all the details, but it's very beautiful. Communication to almost let each other know what might be coming. What the heck? There's a whole communication going on with trees. Plus, they're very busy taking what we don't want, carbon dioxide, and giving us oxygen. They're not doing that out of kindness for humans, I don't think. It's just what they are, their essence. What else is out there? Have you ever spent any time with rocks? Other than go, oh yeah, that's just a rock. Every rock is different. I've never seen in nature, although I've never really looked that hard, two rocks or boulders that are exactly the same. If we thought the life of trees was moving kind of slowly, imagine the life of rocks moving really slowly. Are rocks alive? How do you know? Some of you would say no. Of course not. They just sit there, they're just rocks. Some of you that's hung out with them and opened your awareness and allowed whatever arose to arise. Some of you have quite a lot of respect for boulders or rocks. It's said in the Cherokee tradition that rocks hold all the knowledge from any time. They're the keepers of knowledge. And that's kind of relaxing, because what that leads to is you don't have to be so afraid of losing knowledge, because the rocks have it. You just have to learn how to listen to them, which might be a little trickier. What else? Have you ever had a dog? And they definitely have different personalities. But in general, dogs are pure love, unless they've had very bad circumstances or some bad genes, or unfortunate, I won't say bad. You go away all day, you come home, they're so excited to see you, they don't go, gee, where the hell have you been for so long? They're just happy to see you. Amazing creatures. If you want to know how to express more love in your heart and your life, be a dog for a day. Let yourself see beings as the dog does. My dog is probably with my encouragement. I had a bunch of turkeys walk up to the window. I have sliding glass doors up here. And one of the turkeys just walked right up to the glass door and was looking in with, well, you thought turkeys were all dumb? No, I was looking in with obvious curiosity. Well, I wonder what's going on in there. I don't think it's thinking that, but I don't know. Pretty fun. But not very interesting to my dog. Didn't have a great love or fear of turkeys. No instinct to go chase them or bark at them. It's kind of fun to look through somebody else's, another being's eyes, if you will. We won't get it exact, or I won't, maybe some can. It's an entirely different way of being present in the very same world, very different perspectives. I've heard so many people say, oh, dogs just are nice to you because they know you feed them. Spend time with the dog. I'll be damned if they're not often very loving when you're not feeding them. They don't beg every minute of the day, most dogs. They're just frigging happy to be with you. I have one lying right here with me. What else is out there? So many things. How about water? There's an amazing thing. In that same Cherokee tradition, water is said to carry knowledge because water travels, always finds the easiest path. And yet it can wear away everything else over time. Water's amazing. You're made up of, what is it? Well, 90, don't hold me to the numbers. Something like 95% or 99% space. And the parts of you that aren't space, I think it's something like 90% of you is water, of those parts that are left. You're a water creature and a space creature. Huh. How about light? I didn't spend a lot of time with water because I think that's one, when you sit with it, how many of you like the ocean because you can rest with the waves coming in and out and the different ways the waves form and dissolve? Not so different from you, really, just easier to notice. And the sound of the waves. I was by a place with a lot of pebbles one time, and wasn't big waves or anything, but the water was coming in and going out. And it occurred to me that I always think the water is making the noise going over the pebbles, the stones. But what if the stones are singing to the water? There's a whole universe of life that when we get so focused and our patterns take over so much, we can't even notice. There's people in here, at least one, that spent a lot of time sailing out in the middle of the sea, where, yes, there are still waves. What a different world. Maybe overnight, noticing the moon shining on the water. Or when there's not much moon, all the stars in the sky without any light pollution. Freaking amazing. You are those stars. You are light. Another amazing thing we can notice all the time. What if there wasn't any light? If you want to find out how crazy your mind really is, be a little stable. Go ahead and do a dark retreat for 3 days and watch what your mind does. Might cause some gratitude for light that allows us to interact interdependently with what we can see. Well, and even what we can't see. Light's pretty cool. Warmth from a fire, pretty cool. When we get discouraged and have despair and maybe slip into depression, open our awareness to everything that isn't written up in the newspaper, isn't just humans. And your very kindness in that open state before it clinches down going, oh yeah, but we're destroying it all, that one again. Be who you are. Are you destroying it all? Probably not. And from there, the only thing that's going to change the direction of human realm, if you see it as a direction, is for there to be more light, more openness, less fear. And guess what? There's only one being where we can start with that. There's a difference between shifting the arising experience of sadness because of somebody else's, what we might perceive as somebody else's behavior, or anger, or whatever arises. Shifting to wishing them well, genuinely, not to get rid of the sadness or the anger, or that's fine, just let it be. But maybe to remember that they're not them. The original oops. There's me, and then there's everything out there. My thoughts are me. My feelings are me. My body is me. None of that's true. If it were true, you could have any thoughts you wanted. And any you didn't want, you could not have. Is that your experience? If that were true, you could have any feelings you wanted, not just react to what you're used to reacting to. Is that your experience? Your body does all kinds of things that you're not even aware of, but you wouldn't be alive without them. Are you aware of every single breath? You're certainly pretty sure you don't take every single breath, the you that thinks it's a you. Your body does lots of stuff. And then we judge it when it has sensations we don't like. Isn't that your experience? Hi, Kitty. Thanks for joining us. Everything. If we want to do, well, hi, Pooch. If we want to do mantra because it reminds us perhaps, that we are all connected. And we might wish to remember that and wish every being well. May every being have moments of relaxation. Om. May every being have moments of joy. On a practical level, if some of the beings that we think are really mean and Europe did change. Thank you for the nod, Gotcha. All those that we think of as them and we just think they're wrong and we don't like them and blah, blah, blah. Do you think if they had more moments of relaxation, more moments of joy, more moments of love, things might change? For them. So mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. No idea what time it is. I thought maybe we would do a little mantra together if you wanted to. With that intention, with that wish, may all the beings in this moment suffering from starvation, not enough to eat, may they have a moment of relief. May they receive a moment of kindness. A moment of love. May all the beings in this moment fighting in wars with terrible fear, and their families afraid. May all of them have a moment of peace, a moment of rest, a moment of joy, a moment of love. To every level, may all the animals who are experiencing abuse and cruelty in this moment, might they have a moment of rest. Om Mani Padme Hum. Most of us run away from what we perceive as the suffering in the world. It's too much. When we feel that way, we can offer the mantra with the intention that every being have a moment of rest, moment of relaxation, a moment of openness. A moment of love. If we are as interconnected and interdependent as we've been told, what might the effect of that wave be in the world? Not from a separate I trying to make everybody be happy, but from a realization that we are all connected and a wish for suffering to have moments of ease. Nothing to protect ourselves from. We have a hero culture, many of our cultures. Are hero-based. The heroism of this and what most heroes on their journey, if you study them, if you look, it isn't about I'm a hero. It's about recognizing hopes and fears, carrying on anyway until perhaps there's a realization that we aren't so different, that we are connected. The hero that slays the dragon slays his own fears. Never been about the dragon. Om Mani Padme Hum. I think I may have used up all our time already. How about we stay? And I'll let, maybe not. If you want to stay for an extra 5 minutes, and we'll just say that mantra together with that intention, or whatever intention you want to bring with it. And notice how you change. And notice what pops up to go, well, this is, those funny thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. Yeah. Has everybody had the lung, I think? Repeated it after somebody that had had the lung, who had had the lung, who had had the lung 3 times. That's all it is. And we'll do it real quick anyway. If you haven't, or if you have and you want to, repeat after me 3 times. Om. Ma, ni, pe, me, hung. When you say this and you're all muted, and that's all I'm going to say, feel the vibration of the sound coming through your body. Where does the sound come from? You know where you stop hearing it. Where does the sound wave end? What makes you believe it does end just because you can't hear it? We can't even tell if we're hearing it inside or through our ear organ outside. Feel that vibration of sound. Second time. Om, mani, peme, hung. I wish people would be kinder to each other. Om, mani, peme, hung. I can't change them. I can hope for them. That they have more relaxation, more ease, more love, more kindness. We can say this quietly to ourselves or sing it out loud. I'm going to mute myself so I can go nuts. And notice with our attention, our awareness, how different it feels when we're singing mantra with that intention to when we're completely contracted and angry and wishing to control the world the way we think it should be. There's a love affair going on over here between a human and a kitty cat. It's very fun. Yeah. Okay. This is the dedication today. Our wish for all beings to awaken to the beauty and the love of aliveness, of non-duality. And may we not grasp on or force any openness. Simply in these moments, allow it to radiate out into the universe, touching all beings. And join me in saying the mantra if you'd like. Om mani padme hung, Om mani padme hung, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Any speed you want, any sound you want. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Gonna mute myself now. Thank you for being here. As you're saying that, and we're saying it together, I did realize I'm muted so you can hear yourself. One can feel those waves, experience those waves going out into the universe, touching all beings. May those of who have gone before us with great open-heartedness, those who in this moment have great open-heartedness, and those who will arise in the future with great open-heartedness. Whether we call that Chenrezig, Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, whatever symbols, Mother Bears, whatever symbols, may all beings with that great heartedness be present with us. And may our heart stream, heart-mind stream, be joined with theirs. Thank you all so very much, and I will see you next time I see you.